And I think that's something that's really exciting, and that communication, those questions, those things that we can help with, that's what it's for.
Well, and I think that's where the value is, like if you're going to ask me to teach you how to run a polisher on this podcast, that's not what this is about. There's a million of those things out there and you can learn a lot yourself. But when we talk about business and we talk about things that you can do and experiences that we've had, we can, we can speak to that and really help maybe eliminate some of those things that you're going to do along the way that just make it a lot easier.
And whether that's cost you time or dollars, what I mean? That's our goal, is to save you time and dollars with whatever questions or wherever you're trying to go with the business.
That's right. So let's talk a little bit further. Let's go. Okay, that was owner operator free training, things you can do yourself. Let's talk about now. I've saved up some money. I want to spend some money on my company, my business, some different options. And I'll speak to mine first. What we just did recently, we do this annually, and we bring in an outside consultant. So we use Prentice St. Clair. He's been in the business a long time. There he is right there on cam. And he comes in and he does a 3-day deep dive into our processes, into our pricing, into our sales process, everything. He meets with managers, myself. We have one-on-ones, we have group meetings, and he is getting a bird's eye view of how this company operates. And then at the end of those 3 days, he goes and writes a full report on what he thinks that we can improve on and things that we should look into. And that is a very in-depth training and in-depth way to really dive deep in your business.
Yeah. And I think something like that is extremely valuable because you're getting a non-biased point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have any stake in the business. They're coming in. Their job is to find those mistakes.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, I want to say this. So we are emotionally connected to every decision that we've made building this business. So whether you're, owner operator, every decision you've ever made, you're emotionally connected to. So you are biased. That means that you think that's probably the best way.
Yeah.
No matter what. So someone else coming in may look at it and say something as simple as, why do y'all keep the towels over there? Well, I don't know. It's just kind of what we were thinking when we set up, and that's what we had in mind. Well, he's like, that's ridiculous. They're walking 10 extra steps to get to the towels before they go to the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, holy shit, I didn't think about that. Or like, it's just the way we've done it, Yeah. And so those unbiased, outside bird's eye view looking in opinions and thoughts are valuable.
And that quote right there of that's just the way we've done it. I think that should be the quote of the video because it's it's real. It's real because unless someone else tells you, you're like, that's just the way we've been doing it.
Oh,
you know
man.
what I mean? Whether you're just by yourself, you got 50 employees, you're bringing training out, you're going out for training. That's just the way it's been. It's a really easy way to fall into that stagnation in a way.
It's a progress killer. It's a progress killer. And, I always say if the best way to really know if you know what you're doing or not is have to teach it. When you start to teach something, because the first thing they're going to do is why do you do it that way?
Yeah.
And if you say, well, that's because I was told to, you don't know it. You don't know what you're doing. I mean, well, that's just because Dustin told me to. No, I'm wrong. Why do you do what you do? Right. And then if you can teach that, then you truly understand it.
Yep. 100%. Now on the flip side, right. You brought somebody in. I got out of the cold. I went somewhere warm.
Okay.
I went down to San Antonio. We did a little, we got PPF certified with, I'll give them a shout out, Expel there.
Nice. Great product.
Yep. Yeah. There's a little diploma.
Nice.
Man, that kicked my butt. I'm just going to be honest. That was something
really,
I went in green as could be. And it was such an awesome experience. But in the bigger picture, it's more about mentally going and removing everything else. You're going there to train. Yes. Right. We stayed at a hotel that was walking distance. We were there from, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., 4 days straight of just straight working, just trying to get better.
Right.
And that's where I challenge, the viewers and the people wanting to start and maybe go on a trip like that. Just make sure you're mentally ready because it's not a party. It is something where you're there for the business and to better yourself.
Yeah, you're separating yourself out from the business and you're really getting clarity. You take that time, take it serious and squeeze that sponge for all it's worth because, you know, that's what you're paying for. And everything that you learn there is, the more you learn, the more value you got out of it, obviously. And that's the idea behind it.
Yeah, no, it was a good time. And we even finished it off the last day. We got certified. We went to a rodeo, never been to a rodeo.
Oh, nice.
That was very cool. It's like, look, and then we jumped on a flight that night and we went back home and we went back to work the next day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, it's just making sure you're ready to take that sort of that dive for the right reasons. Because even that, they were telling me, like, people come down, you know what I mean? They'll come in hungover the next day, you know what I mean, and
Yeah.
not
Oh
get
yeah.
the full value out of it. And I think that's really important to get in that right mindset.
Oh man, so I go to trainings all over the US. I go around and speak at them, and you wouldn't believe, I see these guys come in late, come in an hour late. I know they've stayed out all night. And like, I'm like, guys, you're spending money on this thing. Like, this is the opportunity that you have. Like, you can drink a beer any other weekend, like whatever. Do take this serious, get to the training on time. And then here's another thing. They should, not all trainings are created equal. So
No.
you need to make sure that you're vetting them out. If I'm guy saving my money, fixing to make this decision, I want to be careful as to what training I'm going to and make sure it's not just a total product push, but I'm actually learning something as well, or something to take on. Now, if you're wanting to add a new service, like a new product, then that's, that there's a ton of good trainings out there. Got to shout out my boys IGL. Like, I mean, they do a wonderful job at their training facility. Definitely all of their trainings. Like, if you have an option to go any of them, go to it. They are fantastic. They also bring in like Rupes, and they bring in other, they bring in Detail Bookie. I mean, but they bring in other products. I mean, other suppliers, and they make a great training. But you need to vet those out. Don't just go to somebody because they stuck a sign in the window and said they're a trainer. Vet them out. Look at their background. Look at what they've done in the industry. How long have they been here? What are they doing? That's letting them call themselves a trainer, and making sure that your dollars are well spent in that manner.
And then that next step is sort of like, hey, if you're going out to a trainer, what about the shop that you're leaving behind?
Absolutely.
Right? Is that shop, is it humming? Is it able to be open? Are you the one-man shop? Is it closed for a week? You know what I mean? I think that timing is something that's really important too, to keep in the back of your mind there.
Well, let's speak to that. Let's just say you're owner operator, right? You're by yourself, or you and a helper, and you're going to do this training. It's going to be 3 days, and you have to shut down. Do you know that there's value in marketing that? Like, you tell your customers you're taking 3 days to go advance yourself in this industry, and go learn, and then capturing the photos, and then sharing that post and saying, hey, I spent this much time, and I wouldn't put a dollar amount, but paid money to go do this thing so I could serve you better.
Man, and put that positive spin on it too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's what you want to do. Customers are thrilled to hear that you're learning more and that you're going to be able to better serve them. It's just a good marketing opportunity.
I think so too. Yeah, I think that's a really positive way to put it. Just in case, even though if you're not at that place where you could leave and have that shop, humming while you're gone, and there's nothing wrong with admitting that either. Putting it out there with that positive spin with the customers is something that's really valuable.
Yeah. I think it's good. And then if you're a big company and you have employees that you're leaving back and you're going to learn, you need to make sure that baby, like you said, is singing like a sewing machine. You want to make sure that there's a plan in place. Perfect example. My shop manager left for the weekend, or left on Thursday, took off a few days to go to watch his son in the state wrestling tournament. And he wrote out, like, he typed out what he planned to happen each day and what teams were going to do what. Even though we have our schedule and it's fluid, he had a plan. And then he got with leaders in the shop and said, this is the plan I want you to execute while I'm gone. And so, like, these are the things that you need to do in order to prep everybody out and make sure that they know what they're doing while you're gone, so your phone's not blowing up and you can concentrate.
Yeah, I was we booked the flight like a month or so. I went up to my manager. I'm like, look, just don't burn the place down.
Right.
I'm like, listen, just no fires. Call me if there's a fire.
Yeah,
but, just you know what I mean. But having that 110% confidence that I know it's not gonna. There's no fires happening. That's really special.
Mine's like, don't call me unless the building's on fire, and then don't call me. Call the fire department.
Well, and then I'll be like, yeah, did you call the fire department first or second?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Look, man, that's terrible. No, but that's the truth, And one other thing, and I think we can probably kind of start to sum this thing up on trainings. But I think you should have a goal in mind of what you're wanting to get out of this training. I think a little bit of homework on your end, and say, what am I really trying to get out of this? Yeah. I'm going to go spend this money, but I really, and I think there's huge value in writing something down. I think you could think about it all day long, but when you put pen and paper, it don't have to be pretty. It don't have to be formal. Say, I want to, I need 3 goals that I'm going to take away from this training. I want to be a better blah. I want to learn blah, blah, blah. And I want to do this. And then you make sure that you get those things done there, and you will feel accomplished when you leave that training.
Yeah, and sort of sum up is like the time spent there, right? Your time is your most valuable thing. But when you're an owner operator, one man show, 50 employees, that your time, there's only so many hours in a day. So
That's right.
going through and saying, hey, for that opportunity cost of me going to this training, it's really valuable for my time, or having someone come in. You know what I mean? It's really valuable for our team's time to put the time to work with somebody and see where our inefficiencies are.
That's right.
So I think just time, and again, now it's, and then it goes into the people, right? Those mentors or those trainers or those, the people that you meet at the training facilities, making sure that there's someone that's going to be beneficial for your business in the long term.
In the long term, not just in this immediate. You're building those relationships that you may need to draw on later.
Yep.
Want to talk about one other thing too, where there's a plethora of trainings, and that's at these that's at the trade shows, like MTE. I know SDC and SEMA all have trainings there. It's like MTE is a whole day before, like it's a whole day of training. We speak at a couple classes. I do a couple trainings, but it's how you can go take one day and you can go to like 6 or 7 different classes, and they're like 1 hour spurts, and you can absolutely soak it up. And so now you're cutting the cost, of what otherwise would cost you a lot of money down to just one visit,
And I'll talk to MTE because I was obviously there this year as well. It's like the people that just go for the expo, you're kind of questioning, like, hey, they put so much time and effort into getting those classes. And they start at 7 a.m. You know,
they do.
I mean? So you did go in there and deciding, hey, I'm going to be up at 6 a.m., get a coffee, get there first, get your notebook, take your iPad, whatever it may be. That's a decision. You know what I mean? That just shows, there's not as many people in the 7 a.m. class as the noon classes.
No,
you know what I mean?
Let me tell you 2 little stories real quick. First story is at MTE this year. I had I think it was an 8 o'clock class, and I was up and early and there, whatever. But when I got there, I walked through the class, and my class was already full. There's probably 70 or 80 people in there. And they're all like literally the majority of class, notebooks out, pens, coffee on the thing, laptops open. And I look back and I'm like, holy shit, this is fixing to be a really good class. People are ready. All right. That's the good story. The other story is the SDC. And let me tell you about the problem with SDC. The problem is my buddy Joe LaPalm likes to throw this massive party at the IGL training facility the day before training.
Okay.
And the night before, and like everybody in the industry's invited, and they want me to host a podcast. Well, the funny thing about that podcast is I'm sitting here and I'm interviewing all these different people. They keep them rotating throughout the thing. Well, with every one comes a shot of peanut butter whiskey that you have to drink, or you will not, you're not allowed back in the party, kind of thing. So like 15 shots of peanut butter whiskey later, and then I have a training at 7 a.m. to do. Those do not equate for great training. So I have vetoed now the party. I told Joel, I said I'll be there, but I can't drink with you.
But you know what's funny is even on that side with the party, you know what I mean? That has value. You know what I mean?
Man,
going there and
absolutely
making those relationships, man. That's what it's about. For me, I learned a long time. I don't know who told me, but business is relationships.
Absolutely.
I mean? And going in with no expectation of those relationships, going out and just saying, hey, you want to see what value you can provide for each other. That's what it's about, man.
Well, you think about this. There's detailers all out there. Okay. Detailing is nothing new. We started detailing business. You're not doing something different. What makes you different is you building the relationships with these people, you providing that extra service. The difference is you. You may be providing the same thing. So you're selling yourself, you're making those relationships and building that business on you. Now you have to be, if you want to scale it, you got to learn to teach your employees to do the same thing. And that's a whole nother job. That's a whole nother podcast too, Ethan. Make sure that we do that.
Someone's taking notes somewhere, right?
Oh, Ethan's writing them down.
He's got it. Ethan's got us covered.
He's our boy. He has us covered, man. But yeah, Bill, you're spot on, building those relationships, whether it's training, whether it's in business, anywhere around. That's going to be where the knowledge is going to come from. That's going to be your, where you're going to gain a lot of information from. But you never want to stop learning. You never want to be the guy that says, hey, I know it all. You absolutely want to accept that, hey, I may know a lot, but I know that there's people that know more, or that have more experience, or even I can learn from the things they do wrong, or the things that I know they shouldn't be doing. I can learn more. I can learn just as much from that as I can from somebody teaching me something right.